할머니는 진짜 할머니 같지 않아요.
할머니 같은 게 뭔데?
쿠키도 만들고 나쁜 말도 안 하고 남자 팬티도 안 입고.
그래?
Whenever you are feeling like maybe it's time to give up, you should think about the story of the director who did 3 movies that nobody seemed to enjoy and figured it was probably time to get away from the industry and go back to South Korea to be a professor. Only to have his last written script fall into the hands of Steven Yeun, get it produced by Brad Pitt's producing company and end up with 6 Oscar nominations, including Best Director on his lap. That might be too specific to work for you, but in any way, I think it's important to tell you would be thinking about the story of Minari's director, Lee Isaac Chung. Minari tells the story of a South Korean family that moves to Arkansas in the 1980s to start a farm that specializes in South Korean products. The name of the movie comes from a herb used in several Asian dishes called Enanthe javanica, known in Korea as Minari. The herb is known for flourishing where other plants can't, a suitable name for a movie that talks about a family fighting to put down roots. Chung didn't like it himself when he was young, but just like in the movie, his grandmother would plant it on the Arkansas farm where he grew up. That's not the only thing in the story to be based in the director's childhood. The parents in the film, Jacob and Monica, sex chickens for a living, just as Chung's parents did. The grandmother comes from Korea to help take care of the kids, also just as Chung's did. Even the relationship between her and the kids is similar to the director's experience. Chung says his grandmother was a kid in many ways, very different from the stereotype shown on television.
니네는 미나리가 뭔지 모르지, 미국 바보들은. 그래서 할머니가 한국서 미나리 씨 갖고 왔다. 저기랑 저쪽에다 심으면 좋겠다.
In the film, the grandmother is played by Korean star Yoon Yoo-young, who won the Oscar for Best Actress for the role, and is basically known for being a total badass. The woman is an icon, having been in more than 100 movies and TV series. In South Korea she is called Young Sunsangnim, that means teacher, or master, which might be the coolest thing I've heard all day, and it definitely just gave me a new ambition in life. Steve Yeun, who plays Jacob, the father of the family, says he really appreciated the actress casting. It made easy on the acting since Yoon highly respected her and wanted her approval, much like Jacob does, even though the character would probably never admit it. The actor himself chose Minari because he thought it was really different from the scripts about the Asian American experience he is usually sent.
데이비사, 너는 스트롱보이야.
Yoon was an immigrant himself, having moved to the USA when he was 5, and was tired of reading stories that would either be too explanatory or add a white America element in the story to make it justified. Chung's movie does none of that, choosing to simply focus the family and their struggles and let the rest of it be understood and interpreted by the audience at their own pace. The main couple's relationship is also there in a very different way Asian couples are usually portrayed. Chung wanted to show the strife that can be healthy in a marriage, so that means Jacob and Monica go at each other, letting all out, completely subverting the quiet and polite Asian stereotype.
당신 우리 애들을 위한 거라고 솔직하게 말해. 나 10년을 일했어. 10년 매일마다 병아리 똥구멍만 쳐다보면서 뼈 빠지게 일했어. 돈 한 푼도 없이 코딱지만한 집에서 살면서. 그래 그렇게 먼저 다 어디로 갔는데.
Chung also casted 2 impressive young actors to play David and Anne. Alan S. Kim as David especially seems to be very intended in breaking and charming every single heart in the audience as he goes. The actor actually made history as the youngest BAFTA nominee ever at 7 years old. What did you do with your day today? Bet you didn't get a BAFTA for it. When it came to filming it, cinematographer Lachlan Milne said the most important aspect was that the movie shouldn't be showy in any way. So they filmed it simply, with the camera there to watch things play out without reminding the audience that the story is in fact a movie. What does that mean? Pretty much that they avoid the use of heavy camera tricks, like too many close-ups, or heavy editing. The movie has a lot of long shots that allows the actor to go through emotions with time and without breaks. If a scene starts out at a happy note and turns serious towards the end, the idea was that they could capture a real emotional transition by keeping the cameras filming, instead of cutting every 5 seconds to ask for a better take. Which, actually, makes a whole lot of sense. Another Oscar nomination the movie got was for Best Score, which is impressive considering Emile Masseri only had the script to work with when creating the score. So what the composer did was create music that would match up with the movie's general concept. Since the family lived in a small space, Minari felt a big orchestral score would crash with it and maybe even take up too much space every scene. Which is honestly a very interesting way to think about a score, like a character, that if overacted can steal from other elements being shown. Inspired by the idea that the movie is about a new life, Minari also decided to mix literally a new sound for the score. For that, he used a detuned guitar from the 1940s doubled with the piano, making it so that it doesn't sound like either instrument, but something completely original instead. If you compare Asian representation in mainstream films, you can come back with shocking numbers. A 2020 survey by the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative found that across 1,300 films, only 3.3% have directors with any Asian heritage, most of them male, and even more bizarre, only 7.2% of the speaking roles are played by Asian actors.
Oh, Captain Ring.
It's ing.
Oh.
It's like ring, but without the R or the I. It's just ing.
The controversy came up again when the Golden Globe pulled a used-up trick and nominated Minari not as a Best Film, but as Best Foreign Language Film, a year after Parasite won Best Movie at the Oscars. This is what director Chung has to say about it. There's no easy answer. A lot of times we have these categories that maybe don't fit the reality of human experience and human identity. I'm completely sympathetic to what a lot of people in my community are saying, that often as Asian Americans we're made to feel more foreign than we internally feel ourselves. And this is what Stephen Yoon has to say about it. Our story is valid in and of itself, we don't need validation from the outside. Us not being eligible, that's just us butting up against institutions and rules that fail all of us, all of the time. I'm just glad I'm part of something that gets to challenge these notions. Which are both diplomatic and intelligent ways to approach the truth that it's about time American awards revisit their arbitrary ever-changing set of rules to represent the current movie industry appropriately. But anyways, Minari. The movie has a beautiful cinematography, peaceful soundtrack and heart-wrenching acting. It's about one family, but it's also about everything else happening around them. And at the center of it all it's the herb, that through many struggles and challenges will still fight to set its roots in any place it can survive in.